The following program is brought to you by blood, sweat, tears, and listeners like you. To support this show and all of the shows within Twib Nation, consider becoming a subscriber of our pay service, The Twibularity, at twib.me/subscribe. That's twib.me/subscribe. Or you can give a one-time donation at donate.twib.me. That's donate.twib.me. We've all learned how important media is and who tells our stories. Help us be the media that you want to hear and that the media is afraid to hear. It's kind of hard to listen to yourself become irrelevant.
Good afternoon. Today is Thursday, January 22nd, and today on Twib Prime, it's the anniversary of Roe versus Wade, and the Republican-controlled House just passed an abortion bill. Although not the one they originally planned to, McDonald's is getting sued for being racist as all get out, and New York has managed to drastically reduce the racial disparities in drug sentencing. All this and more with Team Blackness on Twib Prime.
So from now on, whenever you hear these horns, just know you are now entering the blackness. Collard greens, cornbread, and the catfish. Malcolm X and Dr. King with a black fist. We are live, son. This is Blackness. You are now entering the blackness. Stevie Wonder, Marvin Gaye, and the classics. Real love, the opposite of ratchet. We are live, son. This is Blackness. When they hear me, they say, let's go to Siri on the.
What is going on, people? We are back. This is This Week in Blackness Prime. I am your host, Elon James White. With me, as per usual, is Team Blackness, consisting of Captain, Lieutenant, General, Professor. On occasion, he is some sort of doctor. He is the Negro Jon Snow in our Negro Game of Thrones. We have Aaron Rand Freeman, sir.
I don't usually talk about other shows, but on Historical Blackness today, Blair Kelly came up with an excellent solution to Anthony Mackie's in general existence. She actually doesn't acknowledge his name, and I think I'm on that. I think I'm sworn off of Anthony Mackie. He will now be the actor to no longer be named, who will not be mentioned ever again. Well, it's a really good idea. Well,
here's the issue with that, Aaron. A lot of people, especially actors and people within entertainment, say a lot of dumb shit.
That's true.
So are we just going to be talking about, hey, you know that guy who was on that thing with the other person who did the stuff?
Yes.
That's
if
madness.
Everyone wants to pile on if all of a sudden 40 actors are like, yeah, Mackie's right. Then all 40 of them would become actors and actresses who are not to be named, and we would just have to sort out some method of understanding them. Like I said, we can call him Falcon, but I'm not going to refer to him by his real name.
Okay. You know what? All right. I will. I mean, I feel like at some point we're just going to run out of people, and it's going to be like so-and-so and so-and-so and so, and that so-and-so and Kerry Washington. Like that's it. Like just like one name. Also with us, we have senior legal analyst of Twip Media. She's angry. She's black. She's some sort of lady. She is the founder of the Angry Black Lady Chronicles, and she is an overall problem in general. We have Amani Gandhi, ma'am.
I'm not a problem. I'm a goddamn delight.
Stop ripping me off.
It's just, I'm sorry. My delighthood has eclipsed yours.
I don't believe that.
No.
I'm always a delight. Remember that.
You don't have to believe it. It doesn't make it any less true.
I should. That's not how that works at all. I follow Republican rules of life. That means that if I believe it, it's so.
Oh, jeez.
Listen, if they can do it, I can do it. I am down to saying this. This is tomfoolery and shenanigans. And something else that sounds old. We do this Monday through Thursday, and we have a docket full of shenanigans, tomfoolery, and something else that sounds old. That's just going to be the next part of that from now on. Something else that sounds old. But we have up front here some quick hits, ma'am.
John Boehner.
No. Sorry. That's like you do that to me all the time. You start off with something that you know I'm going to be like,
oh, you don't ever
for real though?
You don't want it.
For real though? All right.
So John Boehner, he's the Speaker of the House. He invited Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to speak before Congress about Iran.
Wait, whoa. The Speaker of the House invited a head of state to speak to Congress, not Obama.
Right. Yeah, it's actually, I mean, Talking Points memo calls it a, quote, unprecedented diss. And a lot of, Haaretz.com, which is as I think it's based in Israel. It's an Israeli-based newspaper. They're all talking about how abnormal this is, how unusual this is, how usually heads of state
talks to heads of state.
And if you're going to go visit, if you as a head of state are going to go visit another country, you better well clear it with that head.
Oh wait, did Netanyahu even? So he's doing it.
Yeah, he's doing it.
And he didn't speak to the president. President didn't even know. So like president just like there's like a bunch of like a motorcade coming in. And they're like, who the hell's that?
Yeah.
Like it's Netanyahu.
Yeah. Just straight up dissed him. And it's actually rather amusing because it's coming right on the heels of him attending the Paris Unity rally in the wake of the Charlie Hebdo killings.
Right.
After the Prime Minister of France told him not to come. And he just went anyway.
So here's why this is hilarious. I'm imagining the phone call that happened.
Right.
I don't believe Obama let that ride. I don't believe Obama was just like, he's just inviting heads of state and just like, it's like jumping over me. I don't think he did that. I believe there was a phone call or John Boehner was like out at like lunch or something like that. And then all of a sudden he like looked up from like his iPad and there was just no one else at the restaurant. And he's like, why is this an empty restaurant? And then all of a sudden Obama just walks in, there's Secret Service all outside. And he was like, really, motherfucker? You thought that shit was cool. Do you not know, like, where's your wife right now? Where's she at? You think you know where she is? Do you actually know? How motherfucker? No, I can't imagine. Yeah. Like, that's one of those conversations. And the thing is, he would be right to do that. It's not even like one of those things where like he was like flexing on him. He would be absolutely right. Cause like I think he might need to remind dude who's president.
Yeah.
Because nope.
Don't do that.
Nope.
Not cool, bro.
Nope. I would be mad at Aaron if Aaron all of a sudden just like invited like another podcast on the thing and just didn't tell me. Or whatever. I just came in, there was just like another podcast playing. Like, who's this? Like, I just put a new podcast on the network. I'm like, the fuck? The fuck is that? Like Aaron, the studio lights would just go off. Like in his house, like it was just like all of a sudden power, electricity, everything. I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What else we got?
Not cool, man. Not cool. So a woman moved into a new home in Chevy Chase, Maryland, which is actually quite near where I grew up.
I'm sorry, Chevy Chase, Maryland.
Chevy Chase, Maryland. You never heard of
It's called Chevy Chase, Maryland?
It's called Chevy Chase, Maryland.
Why did they name themselves after Chevy Chase?
I think they came first. I think Chevy Chase might have named
So Chevy Chase is named after... I did not... okay.
Chevy Chase, Maryland. It's right near... It's the suburb of D.C., right near Bethesda, Silver Spring. I grew up right near there. I went to North Chevy Chase Elementary School.
I don't know why that rubs me... Like, what? It's like in my mind, Chevy Chase is that dude who thinks he's funny.
Yeah, well, it's that. And it's also a town where if you're a black person, you move in, you might get the phrase, nigger go home, spray painted on your new house.
Oh, no.
Because that happened.
No.
A neighbor of this new family noticed the vandalism on the woman's garage door and told her about it. And then in a very nice show of neighborliness, helped her remove the racist graffiti from her home. So that's nice.
That's terrible.
I mean the story is terrible, but the neighborly help.
Yeah, thank you for getting the nigger off my garage. But why is there? Who's writing nigger in my garage? Aaron, explain to me why is there a nigger in this woman's garage?
I didn't do it. I didn't.
But so you have dreadlocks.
I know. I steal things. I commit crimes. Why would I vandalize when I could steal her Blu-ray DVD player? And not, like I said, why would I not be stealing or killing someone?
You're right.
Stealing drugs. It's vandalism, Elon? Really? I have dreadlocks. Higher standard.
You're right. I'm sorry.
It's worth noting that Chevy Chase is a very affluent neighborhood. The median income there is $250,000.
What the?
So they're probably used to having a lot of white folks around there like, oh my God, there's a black person in there. No, but got to write nigger on her garage door.
Do you really think, or do you think it's like some young punks just being a-holes because they think it's funny? Like that's the worst part about racism. Is because you never know what's actually happening. Because sometimes, and I'm speaking for myself. I'm not speaking for I'm not saying black people. We know no. But sometimes I feel like people are do racist shit, and they think they're being funny, or they're doing it because it's hilarious to them. And it's not that they actually want the nigger to go, but it's hilarious that we just paint the nigger gotta go. Like it's funny, ha ha ha, look at this thing we did, and they're not really even fully aware of how much they're upholding white supremacy and the terrorism that has been put upon black folks in our society for hundreds of years at this point. And so sometimes you're like, I mean, in all honesty, it probably doesn't matter whether or not it was done to be cute or funny, or was it done because they really feel like niggers gotta go. But I do sometimes I just like to know the difference between it. And I would love to know, like, is that what happened? Or was there someone in the neighborhood who was just like, listen, guys, seriously, niggers?
They gotta go.
I mean, can we get a call on the niggers? can we get a vote? Can we get a vote? All the niggers, for those who think the niggers should stay, all the people who think the niggers gotta go. At the moment, by the way, I'm the only one with my hand up for that thinks the niggas should stay. Apparently, Aaron and Amani are anti.
I didn't know this was actually a poll.
Like, you should always be prepared. You should always have your like, they should stay. You should always be ready for them to stay.
I think they should stay.
Black people never have anything decent to steal, so we're gonna swap her out with a white woman so I can rob her house. Thank you.
What?
Hair.
Aaron.
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 I have dreadlocks. Leave me alone. It's inherent.
You're right. What else we got?
So there's a new company that has created a maternity line that is made especially for butches.
I'm sorry, what?
A new company, Vanessa Newman and Michelle Janaya, they're two young queer entrepreneurs of color. They're launching a new company called Butch Baby & Co. And they have developed a, quote, alternity line for pregnant, masculine, transgender, and queer individuals that will launch this year.
Make that money.
Yeah. That's a niche market that needs to be filled.
You're right. They can charge whatever they want.
They sure can. Like, where the hell else are you going to get?
What you going to do? What you going to do? Where you going to get this at?
You going to go to, like, Macy's? They ain't got shit for you.
Nah, that's actually kind of interesting. You said, I was like, what? But no, that actually could totally work. And maybe we should can we throw invest in that or something like that? Can we get behind it before it blows up?
Call them up.
Hey, how much do you need? I want to get on it. I want to get on the back end of that. Hey, it's not what I meant.
That's not what he meant, guys.
Doesn't matter what he meant. He wants to get on the back end of that.
Oh my God, Amani in the
he
back
said
end.
it.
Amani loves pointing out the back end way too much.
Got it.
Every time we work on I'm working on the back end of the websites and the apps, and I'll say, oh, I'm doing some back end upgrades, and Amani every time, hey,
gotta put it in back end.
It's
Upgrade my back end. Woo!
First of all, I don't even know how you do that. Wait, I guess what is that like butt shots? If you're upgrading your back end,
no, maybe you get implants.
Implants on that. Do you understand? Like up until like about 6 months ago, I did not really take the idea of butt implants seriously. I'm like, no one's actually doing that, right?
People are doing it.
Apparently, people are doing that.
Yeah.
What else we got?
Nobody likes it.
Okay,
Kids.
I don't think you can say nobody likes it.
Some people like it.
I think some people like it.
Some people like it. Kids, speaking of back ends and butts.
I want to know the next story. There's no way this connects to that story to that.
It does. Kids are struggling with body image issues at a younger age than you might think.
Okay, but they're not getting butt shots.
They may not be worrying about their butts, but there are kindergarten age children that are concerned about their body weight. By age 6, kids are aware of what dieting means and may have tried it. By age 10, 80% of American girls say that they have been on a diet. Age 10.
What have we done?
What are we doing to our children?
What have we done?
Yeah.
This is terrible. What have we done? I just, really? Like, kids should not be worried about that. That should be the last thing a kid is worried about.
Yeah.
Is some damn, no. And here's the thing. So part of this we have to think about, comes from the parents. Like, when they hear their parents are dieting and stuff like that. Because a kid doesn't know to just diet.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's coming from somewhere. The question is, where is this coming from? Where exactly are 80% of girls, apparently, because it's not across the board, it's specifically girls. 80% of girls thinking that they need to do something about their body by age 10.
Yep. Kindergarten age children. There was a nonprofit organization that did some research. They asked kindergarten age children to indicate their ideal body size. Nearly a third of them chose a size that was smaller than their own size. 5 and 6 year olds are choosing a body size that is smaller than their own because they think they're too big, or they think that the ideal body size is not what they have.
That is not okay.
That ain't right.
I'm now sad. Thank you, Amani.
You're welcome.
You've ruined my day. What else do we have?
My plan. Washington State is seeking to raise the minimum age for smoking to 21. It's now 18. They're trying to raise it to 21.
Why?
Because they're concerned about the health and well-being of our youth. He says the Washington Attorney General Bob Ferguson is trying to raise the legal smoking age because he's concerned about the health and well-being of our youth. He's the spokesman for the Attorney General said some other jurisdictions have raised the age and seen some real impact on youth smoking rates. New York City apparently has already raised the smoking age to 21, and so has Hawaii County.
I wonder what that happened. I don't even think. Aaron, did you know that New York City had already raised it to 21?
I don't. They keep raising the prices as well, so I don't know anything about smoking. Even people I know, everyone I know, just bumps cigarettes off other people. So I didn't even know I didn't even worry about the age. I just noticed that's like $37 a pack here. So
So yeah, that's the thing. Like, so like for a moment, I almost became a smoker. Like I actually I had went to buy a pack of cigarettes because back when I was doing stand up regularly, like you're at a club at night and like everyone, you go outside with the other comics and everyone's like smoking and stuff like that. And at some point I decided like I had a craving for smoking. I feel like I was around so much smoke, and at a certain point I was like, I'd like a cigarette. I'd like to go smoke. And I go to do it, and I say, hi, can I get a pack of cigarettes? And they were like, $13. And I was like, nope. Nope. I am not, that tax prevented me from being a smoker.
There you go.
Real talk.
Was it Bloomberg who did that, or Giuliani?
I don't know. I mean, whoever did it, like, I'm not a fan of either one of them, but the tax itself, like, it just, like, as a real talk thing, I remember the day I walked in and ordered a pack of cigarettes, and I forgot, like, I think it might have been 9 or 10 or something like that, but it was enough that it was cost prohibitive.
Yeah, it is expensive.
I was clearly like, I am not giving you $10 for this pack of cigarettes that I'm not even sure I'm going to really like that much.
Yep.
And at that point, I didn't have any follow through. It's not like I went to like other places. Like I know you can go like get cigarettes from down south or something like that for cheaper.
Yeah, you can also buy them online.
You can do that online.
Like Indian reservations and stuff. Yep.
I didn't know that.
Yep. Moving on.
I feel like Amani, you have spots for smoking.
What?
Are you a smoker?
I smoke.
I feel like it's
not that much. I smoke like 2 cigarettes a day now.
Do you buy them from Indian reservations?
No, but I did when I was in college.
Really? Okay. I did not even know that was a thing.
Yeah.
All right. What else we
you
got?
get cheaper ones. So Republicans.
No. Sorry.
You can't just say no to every story I try to bring you. I'm trying to serve up these piping hot stories on a plate.
I would argue that I didn't say no to everything. I only say no to certain things.
Which is practically everything. You said no to about 75% of the stuff
I said no to Boehner, and I said no to Republicans because, yeah. What, tell me.
So,
bring joy.
The State of the Union address was the other day, as we all know. Hopefully you were watching our coverage.
I think I heard about it.
You might have heard a thing or two about a thing or two. Well, it turns out that Republicans posted doctored footage of the State of the Union in order to censor facts on climate change.
What?
The official website for the House Republicans posted a YouTube version of President Obama's State of the Union address that cut out comments where the president was critical of Republican rhetoric on climate change. President Obama said in his speech that he criticized Republicans in his speech, saying that they are, quote, not scientists when it comes to climate change. You recall what he said, because I know a lot of scientists. Republicans cut that out. The entire portion of the State of the Union address where he talks about climate change was cut out.
I'm genuinely confused.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure why. Did they think that people wouldn't know? Did they think that if they just hit it, then all of a sudden we wouldn't have this problem?
They just snipped it out, and they thought, why would people know? I mean,
the internet's so big.
Huh?
If you do something like that, the internet's going to find out that you did it. You can't do that.
Well, yeah, the internet's going to find out, but some of the people who get their news from, email forwards from their Uncle Joe might not figure it out.
But then like their grandson, Uncle Joe's grandkid will find it, and he is on the internet, and then the internet will find out. I can't imagine how they expected no one to know. That's so... Wow, I'm actually surprised by something. I didn't think I'd be surprised by something that they do. That's just... I
mean, and especially by Republicans at this point. Like, are we surprised by anything Republicans do? But that is, I'm a little bit surprised.
Yeah,
I'm a little bit surprised that they thought that they could pull that off.
They tried it.
Yeah. What else we got?
So a GOP representative appeared on C-SPAN, and he's a California Republican named Tom McClintock. And he was asked by C-SPAN Washington Journal host Greta Browner whether or not he could get behind a presidential candidate like Mitt Romney, who is one of an increasing number of Republicans who are advocating for a minimum wage increase to $10.10 an hour. The California Republican, Mr. McClintock, explained that the minimum wage was not supposed to be a living wage that could support families. He said, quote, "It's not supposed to support a family. The minimum wage is that first job when you have no skills, no experience, no working history. That's how you get into the job market. That's how you develop that experience, develop that work record, get your first raise, then your next raise, then your promotion." Essentially, he is saying that we need to keep the minimum wage low for people who are unskilled laborers. So he's saying if you are an unskilled laborer and you're just entering the workforce at $7 an hour and the minimum wage is $10 an hour, you've essentially made yourself unemployable because no one's going to hire some unskilled minority when they could hire some, pimply faced white teenager who's just trying to get his foot in the door. So essentially he said there are some unskilled laborers, primarily minorities and poor people, who just really aren't worth $10.10 an hour at minimum wage because you're not supposed to be raising your family on that. You're supposed to be just getting your head start on that.
Well, here's the thing about that. One, people are raising families on that. So,
exactly.
And what are you going to tell them that, hey, you're not supposed to be making that little, right? Get a higher paying job.
You're
what?
making
You
so
can't?
little that you shouldn't make anything. That's a ridiculous sentiment. You shouldn't even be working here. You should have nothing if you're at this point. That's ridiculous.
I'm genuinely confused on this.
The Bridgetown, New Jersey shooting. Yet another incident of police officers shooting a black man who had his hands up, shooting and killing a black man who had his hands up. This incident happened on December 30th, so it was right before the new year. The victim's name is Jerame Reed. He was killed in Bridgeton, New Jersey, which is a mostly minority city of about 25,000 people just south of Philadelphia. The video of the killing was just released this week as a result of a public records request to the Bridgeton Police Department. So the video shows that the cops actually had a dashboard camera, so that's why we actually have video of the killing.
Actually, I believe we have some footage of this.
Marvelous.
Here. Let's see this. I believe that at the moment I could not find a clip that was pure. I think all the clips are edited, but this is what led up to the shooting right here. We can play that.
Show me your hands. Show me your hands. Don't move. Don't you move. Don't you move. Get him out the car, Raj. We got a gun in this glove compartment. Don't you move. Don't move. Show me your hands. Show me your hands. Don't you move. Don't. I'm telling you, I'm gonna shoot you. You're gonna be dead. I'm telling you. You reach for something, you're gonna be dead. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Keep your hands right there. Hey, Jerome, you reach for something, you're gonna be dead. He's reaching. Show me your hands. No, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. Don't move.
Let's stop it. Yeah. So
I mean, as you can hear, they're screaming at him over and over. Don't you fucking move. Don't you fucking move. Show me your hands. Show me your hands. If I see you reaching for something, you're going to be dead. I'm going to shoot you. So what happened is he apparently did have a gun in his car, but the police officers took the gun out of his car. And then he was told not to move, but he went to get out of his car with his hands up, and the officers just opened fire.
So
why all the aggression? You know what I mean? Like it just seems excessive.
Right. And so here's when you look at something like this and you look at a tape like that, that's the first thing I know. It's like you're just screaming. Like there is no, and I understand the idea that like cops' lives are on the line. They're trying to remain safe. But at the same time, there is a way to kind of deal with the person you're talking to. Because let's remember this. A traffic stop. This was a traffic stop.
Right.
This was not, they weren't chasing down a drug dealer, or this was like a high speed chase. It was a traffic stop. Literally, we didn't play that part of the video, but it started with him saying, "Hey, do you know I stopped you? You went through a stop sign." That was what happened.
Right.
And then all hell broke loose.
Right.
And then, like you said, like you can literally see, one guy's hand outside of the car. Like apparently there's two people in the car. One guy outside the car, and the aggression. Like I'm telling you right now, cops start yelling at me like that. I have no clue what I might do. Not to say that I would attack that, but I would be scared.
Right.
I would be nervous, especially at this particular time in our society, in our history with interaction with the cop. I would be terrified. I don't know what I would do or what I would be trying to think of. Like, how can I get you to stop yelling and threatening to kill me right now?
Right.
Like, there's lots of different things I might try or whatever, and. I mean, that's just terrifying, and I'm not sure, like, why that is considered a reasonable method of engagement with people that you're stopping. Aaron?
Right.
I assume that this part of the gun culture, like I said, it's part of being a police officer. There's a lot of tension, and I think it's just part of having a gun. You almost feel, I feel like you feel more inclined to use a gun when you have it. And I just think we don't train. No matter how much we train police officers, they're armed men. I feel like I expect aggression from armed men, unless you have that level of training where it's not just using a gun, but the mentality of having a gun. So I assume all cops have that. Once the blood starts pumping, I assume that, especially because there was a gun in the glove compartment, I'd be terrified. Especially if I was driving around in a car and you had a glove and your gun in your glove compartment, then I'd assume that anything could happen at any point in time.
See, okay, see, as a cop, my thing is like, why would I assume that? For all I know, you have a legal, you could have a permit to have a gun in the car. Like, I feel like I would not just assume what would be happening, and maybe that's my fault. Maybe it's not. I'm not trained properly, so I don't understand how this should work. But to me, I'm not going to automatically start flipping out. Now, am I going to be stern? Like stop, like whatever. But like there's an aggression that comes along with it that I find problematic, and like especially after like you've already like there was a gun, like you got rid of the gun, and you see people's hands, and like just the whole interaction, like I found it problematic at best.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, you have someone, I mean, people are criticizing the guy because they told him not to move and he went to get out of the car. And like you said, if someone's screaming at you, screaming in your face, and like, it looked like one of the police officers was shaking on the handle of the car, like I might be inclined to get out and be like, what? But he got out with his hands up and they just immediately opened fire. And it just seems to me there's got to be a way that we train, that police departments can train their police on how to engage with citizens when they're stopping them for whatever reason. I mean, obviously, especially at this time in our history with the Black Lives Matter movement and the shooting of those 2 cops in New York, I can absolutely understand why a couple of cops in a town south of Philly would be a little bit nervous. But is it really necessary to be screaming at the guy, I'm gonna shoot you, you're gonna be fucking dead, over and over and over? It just seems like that sort of engagement doesn't benefit anybody. It seems to me a calmer way of dealing with someone would result in less shootings and would result in people listening to you and being able to follow instructions. Because if you're screaming at me, I'm like, what the fuck? I don't know what to do. I just want to get out and flee. And that's just. And
I think part of it, I think that they want to cause fear. They want you to be a little bit afraid, so that you'll go along and comply more with what they're asking you to do. But like, and again, this is just yet another situation where, and you can make the argument. You could say, well, he did this thing wrong. He should have done this. He should have done that. But we're just watching yet again. Like, how many people do we see have guns and cops somehow bring them in without them being dead? Right. And then you see people who, especially when it's like this, you can kind of see what's happening. You can see the aggression from the cops, and then if someone ends up dead, and then you want to critique the people who are being, critique the dead person. I have an issue with that. And I feel like that's not, there has to be a better way to do this. There has to be a better way to engage. And if you feel like right now, well, this is the rules and regulations, then why don't we change the rules and regulations? Why don't we change the way we engage folks? Why don't we figure out a better method? Because this for me, I can't, I'm tired of seeing people with hands out and then dead.
Yeah, it just seems like the mentality right now is that if you are doing anything wrong, if you are stopped for some sort of traffic violation, or if you have a weapon in the car, irrespective of whether or not you have a permit for that weapon, if you get stopped by the cops, then you have to do whatever the cops say, and however the cops respond, it's within their rights, because cops are, they put their lives in the line every day. That can't be the way that we're supposed to live in this society. It can't be that every time a cop stops you, we just are automatically divested of our rights and we're just supposed to do what we're told. Like, I refuse to believe that that's the system that we're forced to live in, because that system is only is harming Black people, people of color. White folks are free to just do whatever. It seems to me. I mean, got a gun? Fine. Shoot at a cop? There was a white guy who shot at a police officer and no charges. And incidentally, that police chief was Black. So I find that a little bit interesting. That happened in Oklahoma a couple of weeks ago. But it just, can we get it together, America? America, get your shit together.
The answer is no. We cannot get it together.
We have to.
And next time you ask about that, they'll let you know that the answer is in fact no. Stop asking. All right. What else do we have, ma'am?
Another story that's going to really cheer you up. A homeless man was set on fire by 3 white guys. On last Saturday night, there was a 58-year-old homeless man who was sleeping on a beach in Ventura, California. 3 men crept up to him, poured lighter fluid all over him and his sleeping bag, and set him on fire. Then pieced out.
Okay. So, okay, and they found the guys because did they find the guys who did it or no?
They found them. Well, no, I'm not sure if they found them, but witnesses say that the three men were white guys with shaved heads. I think people are emphasizing the shaved heads because there's supposed to be some sort of implication that they are neo-Nazis or skinheads of some sort. But the 58-year-old victim, his name is John Frazier. He was just sitting on the beach, not bothering anyone, according to residents and witnesses. He suffered second and third degree burns all over his body. Apparently, he's in critical but stable condition. What are we doing? We're just setting people on fire. I mean, I know Elon and I joke a lot about setting people and things on fire.
No. Hold on. Hey now.
We joke about it.
You joke. I might want to set like something on fire, like or burn something down. But I don't want to set people on fire. You were the people set our fire.
I think I asked people to set themselves on fire.
No, you asked people to drown themselves.
That's true. But the point is, I mean, I think we can all agree.
What'd you say, Aaron?
Oh, they don't drown themselves; they fail to swim. But either way, go on.
That is not what happened.
But either way, it's obvious. It should be clear to everyone listening and watching that I don't advocate violence of any sort. I don't advocate setting people on fire. I don't advocate, any sort of just any violence at all, much less just random violence against vulnerable people. I mean, what is wrong with you? What is going on in your life that you think it's fun to go around and set homeless people on fire? What's wrong with you? I'm gonna hazard a guess. You might be a psychopath.
Can't explain it, and I'm not sure I want to explain it. It's just horrible, and it's like one of those things where you just like what are we humans? Humans, is this how we roll?
Well, part of the problem is I think a lot of people don't view homeless people as humans. I mean, you see it. I'm one of those people that if I see a homeless person, they ask me for something, I will at least, if I have something, I might give it to them. If I don't, I at least look at them and say, no, I'm sorry. I'm not one of those people that just steps over homeless people or just walks by them and ignore them because they're people. And I feel like, you know what? Maybe sometimes just smile at a person on the street, even if you're grumpy. If they ask you for something, say, no, I'm sorry. Have a nice day. It doesn't cost that much. Homeless people are people too. You don't know what their situation is. You don't know what caused them to be homeless. A lot of times there are homeless people who are mentally ill, who have been thrown out onto the street by the system that is cutting budgets for mental institutions and other sorts of programs that can get help for these sorts of people.
Or, and this is going to be, I'm going to blow your mind here, Amani. I hope you're ready for this. They could just be not having the greatest luck.
Down on their luck people.
As someone, I feel like I have to sometimes remind folks, especially when I hear people getting froggy, I was homeless. And it was not even that long ago. I mean, it was long enough, but like in my adult life, there was 2 times in my adult life that I was actually, clearly homeless. And sometimes it's just, things just aren't working out right at that moment. And it's just that simple, because a lot of times we're like, oh, there's all these different things, whatever. Sometimes don't have money, can't get that job. And now you're in the street. And I don't know. I have a weird thing, like, with homelessness is I probably I throw my middle finger up about a lot of different things, but that is probably the one underlying fear that I think I probably will have forever.
Yeah.
Like, I still am a little bit nervous. That's to the point where, like, that's why I'm uncomfortable going places where I don't know where I'm going to sleep that night. Like, it's not sure. Even when someone says, oh, you can stay with me, unless you were like we are really tight. I'm not even comfortable with that a lot of times. Like, going somewhere and like, oh, you can stay with me. I don't know you. You could tell me no. And all of a sudden I'm on the street. That's why, like, my wife makes a lot of jokes about the fact that, like, I seem to really like hotels. 'Cause I'm like, I paid for this. You can't kick me out this night.
Right.
Like, it's a thing. And sometimes people are like, oh, come stay at my house. No.
Yeah.
No, I'm uncomfortable with that. So yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm sensitive about situation with folks who are homeless and in the street.
Yeah. And homeless people they're a vulnerable population, and
because no one cares.
Because no one cares, and there are nefarious people who take advantage of that. So, for example, there was a 2014 report by the National Coalition for the Homeless that indicated that violent attacks against the homeless grew by 23% in 2013 from the previous year. So I don't know if it's just that people don't care about homeless people or if the cops don't care when there are crimes committed against homeless people, but homeless people are people too. Stop being assholes.
I think it might be part of the general harmful rhetoric. Remember, we're blaming a lot of our country's problems on certain things, on unruly women, on black people, on the poor. Yeah. So there are people actively in positions of power who are trying to foist the blame on other people. And I think those words are actually hitting people's ears. The same way it would seem like they're just shooting more black people. Police are shooting more black people. It's just the same reason why apparently their people are injuring more homeless people, because it's one of the handful of reasons why this country is in decline. So says a certain type of politician, certain TV shows, certain news stations. So it just might just be part of the problem.
Yeah. What else we got, Imani?
Thanks
for breaking the show, Imani.
Sorry. Hey, blame the docket monkey.
Oh my God! And by the way, she always likes to argue that I'm the only one who calls her docket monkey, and I'd like to point out that
I was trying to call her docket mistress for a while, but now docket monkey just is stuck in my head.
Oh wow!
It's your fault.
You heard it, Dara. What else we got? Don't blame me,
Dara. It's Elon's fault.
Don't blame me.
Blame him. So today is the 42nd anniversary of Roe versus Wade. It is the landmark decision from 1973 that granted women the constitutional right to get an abortion up to the point of fetal viability. It was a huge deal because prior to that point, women were they were self-aborting, they were doing DIY abortions, they were, going to back alleys and getting abortions with coat hangers and all kinds of nasty business. So this
DIY abortion sounds like there's like someone has they went to the craft store. They
went to Home Depot.
And like Home Depot. So hey, what are you doing, man? Oh, I got to put together this abortion. I found like something online. It seems to be like some pretty clear instructions about how this works. So I'm like, no, me and hubby is gonna go over pick up some stuff, huh? Like DIY, that's a very weird.
That's the terminology people are using. DIY.
Okay.
I mean, that includes taking random herbs. That includes falling downstairs. That includes a lot of women in Texas right now, where abortion access has been restricted beyond belief. They're heading down to Mexico and getting drugs that may or may not be the proper drugs that you're supposed to take when you are trying to get to do a medication abortion.
Oh dear.
Well, of course, the anniversary of Roe versus Wade is a perfect time for the Republican-controlled House to pass an anti-abortion bill.
I think so.
Don't you think?
I mean, if there was ever going to be a time when I was going to do that, I would totally choose that. And by the way, so the new Congress was sworn in when?
January 5th or 6th?
And so they haven't been in there 30 days, and they're already on that abortion.
Oh, they've already introduced 4 different abortion bills. One to defund Planned Parenthood, one that would prohibit taxpayer money for abortion, which is the one that just passed. I'll talk about that in a second. A 20-week abortion ban, which they were going to vote on today, except for, as I mentioned yesterday, several GOP congresswomen pulled their support because they were afraid that hitting the abortion issue a little bit too early was going to scare off millennial and young voters.
But that's what they're doing right now, though.
Well, yeah, but the thing about this particular bill is that it's sort of redundant. It simply codifies what is already practiced and what has been practiced since, I think, 1976. So what this bill does, it's called the No Taxpayer for Abortion Bill. And it prohibits using any taxpayer funds for abortion, any federal funds for abortion. So that means if for people who are on Medicaid, then that's mostly poor people, a lot of poor and minority people. You can't get an abortion if you're on Medicaid. It means if you live in the District of Columbia, you cannot use, there's no money for abortions there. And it also means if you are in the military, you can't get an abortion because the DC is not a state.
That's reasonable.
So DC is beholden to whatever the federal government says that they have to do. So this bill simply codifies a ban that is in the Hyde Amendment. And the Hyde Amendment is essentially an amendment that is attached to the congressional budget every year that forbids federal funds from being used for abortion.
By the way, FYI,
yeah.
I just got an instant message from none other than Mama White.
Yeah.
Just saying, I'm listening. I'm depressed.
Oh, no, Mama White.
We just we're like, I'm sorry, Mom. like this is not my fault. Blame Dara. This is completely Dara. I mean, okay, it's not her because
it's the news's fault. It's just,
it's the news' fault. Because I'm about to say, actually, I'm the one who did the production meeting and said
you picked these stories.
I didn't so much pick them as much as they needed to be reported, and right. This is just. This just happens to be where we are right now.
Yeah. So getting back to this ridiculous bill, one thing that is really interesting, especially coming from Republicans, because Republicans are always about not increasing taxes and freedom and liberty and, oh, the government's taking all your money. Well, what this bill does is it denies small businesses a particular tax credit if those small businesses offer health insurance plans that cover abortion. Something like 87% of health insurance plans that are offered include coverage for abortion services. So that means the bulk of small businesses are going to see a raise in their taxes because of this particular bill. Now, mind you, the Republicans
hate that.
Are raising taxes on small businesses simply because they don't want women to have access to abortion services in healthcare plans, when abortion is a healthcare service. So just let that sink in for a minute. So they hate tax raises, except for when it comes to shining a light up your uterus and telling you whatever's in there has to stay in there.
Well, your uterus is the government's uterus, so that makes sense.
That's true.
Women keep demanding. I mean, it's the government's property. It's like everyone trying to own a park.
I don't know why they keep obsessing over this. Well, there are so many issues in our country right now. There's so many things that we actually need to like really step up and deal with. Like the president's laying out things that we should be working towards, and like you want to pass this. Where are we at with the community college? Free 2 years of community college. Where are we on that? Where are we on like actual things that will help the economy?
Immigration.
Like where are we on immigration? Like the fact is like the economy is improving in spite of the governing of the country. And yet this is what you guys have been, you've had control, what, 20 days?
Yeah, something like
that. Not 18 days. And you're already up in uteruses like what?
They really are.
By the way, I believe that is the title of the show.
All up in the uteruses like what? I like it.
Yep.
I like it. I like it a lot. And I just want to point out that this whole, they're essentially trying to, another provision of this bill would amend disclosure notices with respect to the Affordable Care Act. So it would require any health insurance plan that covers abortion. It would require those health insurers to advertise that those health insurance plans cover abortion. Like, and I'm not really sure I understand what the point of that is. Like, if I'm being offered a health insurance plan and I find out that this health insurance plan covers abortion, even though I have no intention of ever getting an abortion, in fact, I'm very anti-abortion, am I going to refuse to sign up for this health insurance plan? I mean, I guess the point is that insurance is risk pooling. And so I don't want any of the money that I would be providing to this pool of insurance to go for any other person who might need an abortion. But that's like saying, oh, if you get cancer, I don't want to pay for your cancer. So I want a cancer opt-out insurance policy. And mind you, 24 states have laws on their books that prohibit insurance coverage for abortion. Abortion is risk pooling. I mean, insurance is risk pooling, and abortion is a healthcare service. It doesn't make any sense. And then there are some states, like Michigan, for example, where insurance coverage for abortion is prohibited, but you can buy a separate policy and pay a separate premium for an insurance policy that will cover abortion. So that means you have to sort of plan in advance that you might need an abortion.
I mean, wait,
if you get
isn't
raped,
that how abortions work? I mean, aren't we? I assumed everyone who might have a child out there always have like 16 different like what if plans just in case. So it's just normal to have 2 or 3 different health insurances, right? That's not normal.
It's not normal. And what's really most offensive about some of these bills is that and they're being called colloquially in the media, these rape insurance bills, right? Because rape and sexual assault is a huge problem in this country. There are a lot of women who get pregnant from rape, and that's not something you plan for. You know, you're not going out on a Friday, you're like, you know what? I might get raped and I might get pregnant because of it. So let me go ahead and plan ahead and buy an insurance policy that will cover it just in case. This is the country we're living in. It doesn't even make any sense.
2015. This is how we roll. This sounds like a conversation that we would be having like 30 years ago or something like that. Like this does not sound like something that we should actually be having a conversation like this right now. What else do we have, ma'am?
More crap that nobody wants.
What?
I'm telling you, you got more crap that nobody wants. So McDonald's is being sued. A particular franchise in Virginia, in Saweeva County, Virginia, is being sued for racism, sexual harassment, and racially based mass firings. Mass firings.
What?
I'm sorry. I got that a little bit wrong. There are 3 restaurants owned by franchisee Saweeva Company. I thought that was code for Saweeva County. So there's a franchisee called Saweeva Company. They own 3 McDonald's restaurants in Virginia. Those 3 restaurants are being sued for sexual harassment, racism, and racially based mass firings. The complaint says, quote, that some of the workers, there are 9 African American and 1 Latino worker, say that they were harassed by supervisors who, quote, often complained that there are too many black people in the store, called African American workers bitch, ghetto, and ratchet, called Hispanic workers dirty Mexican, disciplined black employees for rule infractions that were forgiven when committed by white employees, inappropriately touched female employees on their legs and buttocks, sent female employees sexual pictures, and solicited sexual relations from female employees.
I don't even know. Racism and sexism. I'm loving it. Actually, if you're watching the stream, the best part about it is that I had to actually do the nameplates, the segment plates today, and so the nameplate is literally serving racism because I'm a dick. You know?
Over 10 billion served, sir. Over 10 billion served.
What is wrong with you?
Yeah.
And so the interesting part about this is that apparently they went that the folks went to McDonald's corporate and asked them like, hey, the hell, they're doing wacky things, and McDonald's corporate is like, oh, you should talk to your boss.
Yeah.
Which is, how do you, I'm not clear on franchising, and when I was having a conversation in the production meeting earlier, I was trying to figure out so as a franchise, if I own a franchise, yes, I know that the owners can do things like tell me yes or no for certain like branding things, like what we can order and stuff like that. But can they tell me to hire someone back? Can they force you to do something like that? I'd love to know what the rules and regulations are, because if McDonald's actually has the power on that, then it's is McDonald's doing an internal investigation on one of their franchises right now? Because if it's not, now this becomes a bigger thing. Now this is not just the local franchisor who's being a douche. This is also now McDonald's corporate, who apparently thinks this is not that big a deal.
Well, what's interesting, I'm not sure the answer to that particular question, but I do know that there was a recent case that is changing the law about franchisee-franchisor relations. So it used to be that if you were a franchisee, let's say, you bought a McDonald's here and you were doing some really illegal shit, and then your employees sued you, they could only sue you. They couldn't sue McDonald's corporate. But there is a recent case that has said that people who have been wronged by a franchisee can actually sue corporate. So that means that if these employees win, and for example, the franchisee is judgment proof, they don't have any money to pay, they can go after McDonald's for that payment. So I imagine, and I'm actually going to research this because I'm interested to know, I imagine that means that McDonald's is going to want to get involved, a little bit more involved in what their franchisees are doing, because it's going to cost them money when they fuck up. I
just imagine the franchise owner walking into his office, and there's a dude already sitting there. He just sees like a cigarette, in a chair, the back of a chair, and a cigarette, smoking from the top. And he's like, "Why are you in my office?" He just turns around, and it's Ronald McDonald in a black suit. Like, the fuck are you doing? The fuck are you doing? This is my money. You don't fuck with my money. They call me R. Donald.
Really?
R. Mickey D, son. You don't know about me. It's like I will set this on fire. Do not make me call Grimace. If I call Grimace, some shit's going down. Grimace just did a bid. He just got out, son. And Grimace don't give a fuck. Grimace is ride or die. Hamburglar? Yeah. Where your wife at right now?
What? Why do you keep asking who people's wives are? Where your wife at?
I feel like that's like just like what you call it, a peek into like my criminality. If I was a criminal, like I would because I feel like if you're a criminal, you have to like listen. I'm taking my cues for being a horrendous asshole from Kim Jong Il and Kim Jong Un or whatever, because they will take your family. Yeah. Like in North Korea, you do some ish, they will just take. Why are we cutting to that scene when we're talking about North Korea? Thank you, Emily, on the director's table. No, they will take your family. If you do something wrong, like defectors, talk some smack, they will take you, they will take your family, take your cousins or stuff like that. So in my mind, I'm like, no, that's not about it. If someone really wanted to do something to me, the thing they do, it's like, where's Emily right now? I'm like, and I freak out. They're like, no, yeah, that's the response. And so that's why, right there, Elon James White, criminal, where your wife at?
Why don't you take your cues from the mafia? In the mafia, they're really respectful of family. Like, if you fuck up, we can kill you, but we're not going to mess with the family.
That's lovely. That's not how I'm going to roll. If all of a sudden, Aaron, you understand what I'm saying?
You can't be in my crime syndicate because I'm leaving families out of it.
Well, you know what?
Yeah, I wouldn't. I would be very, very hands off. It would just be more so people's bank statements. The electricity would go off. Cars would be missed. Cars wouldn't start. Things like that. It'd just be weird. I would be more likely to have men inside your house just looking at you. I wouldn't do anything, but like you'd be making dinner and all of a sudden somebody would help you chopping tomatoes.
Well, I mean, but that's what I'm talking about. See, to me, that works. But Aaron, where your girlfriend at right now? Exactly. Also, you're like, wait, what? You're at that moment like, wait, what? What are you asking me?
I wouldn't be. I hate to say it, but that would cost me my girlfriend because I'd be like, "What is this? A movie? What are you doing? What is this? Empire? What are you talking about?"
Exactly. Think of me as a baby powder McGee, which is what I now have decided. That's Terrence Howard because he looks like he smells like baby powder and regret. Like just like this, a baby and a little MBO, like the combination of all that together, like just mixed in one. I feel like that's what Terrence Howard smells like. What? Am I wrong? Do you really think that? Do you see Terrence Howard? Do you think like just great smelling, nice guy?
I don't necessarily think he smells like BO, but maybe
and baby powder because I feel like he's trying to cover it up. And he thinks he smells cool, but it's just like,
just a little bit off.
You smell like Albie Shore's career.
Oh no!
Really? Did I get an awe from the production desk?
That ain't right.
Albie Shore has not been relevant for 25 years, and you're like, why are you
messing with Al?
Huh?
Why are you messing with Al?
He's off on your own, girl.
Oh Lord. Moving on. We are moving on.
Doing it up on your own, girl. Girl.
Really? Can we stop this? Can we act like adults and professionals? For the love of God.
All right, give us this next story. It might be our last story, so make it good.
Make it hot. So
let's make it hot.
A proposed bill in Washington State will make it easier for family members to seek involuntary treatment for their mentally ill family members. People in their family, they're mentally ill. If a mental health professional takes a look at them and says, they're fine, this new bill will allow them to go to a judge and get a judge to say, they're not fine, have them committed.
Yeah, so you know what we don't want is that.
Yeah. I'm conflicted about this because when I hear the basis for this bill, it makes sense. So the bill is called Joel's Law, and it's named after the parents. It's named after a guy named Joel Reuter. His parents are the ones who are pushing for this bill. Mr. Reuter had a history of mental illness, and he was involved in a police standoff that resulted in his shooting death. And before this incident occurred, his parents, Doug and Nancy Reuter, asked for their son to be hospitalized, but were told that they did not qualify for the treatment that they sought. And so it was the second time that, this is the second time that these parents are trying to get these lawmakers to pass this bill in order to prevent future instances like this, where someone is pretty much clearly mentally ill. You go and take them to a mental health professional, and for whatever reason, that mental health professional is like, they're fine. And then they end up going off and hurting somebody, hurting themselves.
See, but
on the flip side
of that,
it's
right?
Going to be used to just involuntarily commit people for no reason at all.
Yeah, God, let's say someone would imagine, if you will, your daughter is wants to she got pregnant. She wants to deal with the pregnancy. She's going to have an abortion, and then the parents decide that they don't want that to happen. So they try to claim that she's mentally ill. They put her. She gets put in a situation. They test them like she's fine. She actually completely and totally okay. Her parent. The parents can go, no, I'm going to put it beyond that. That's what I'm imagining. Like in situations where
wait, hasn't that's happened before? Haven't we done a story like that where someone tried to get their daughter committed because they wanted that? I gotta Google.
Oh yeah, it was a story. Someone got committed because they were tweeting about Ferguson.
What?
Remember, it was that we did that story about the university professor who was tweeting, the MIT professor who was tweeting about Ferguson, and so the MIT, the MIT staff or faculty or administration somehow got him committed because they didn't like what he was tweeting about. We did cover this story recently, Aaron. You
okay,
were correct,
so
sir.
Okay, cool. Just making sure.
You were
okay,
correct.
Cool. Sounded so familiar.
See, I'm just.
One would hope, however, that the judge would be.
Yeah, why would we hope that judges? We know that judges are like sometimes are horrendous. So far, you're like, we're hoping that judges will do the right thing. We're hoping that this wouldn't be used against people in a bad way.
Yeah.
So far, like I understand why, if you really want to help your family and like people and you have a crappy social worker or the person who's doing the intake or whatever, like they don't really see it, or crappy doctor. I get that. Yeah. That is something that like I understand, but the flip side of it, of somehow this being used in a way that, like people claiming that they're trying to help, and in the end they're not helping. It's actually the exact opposite. Terrifies me.
Yeah,
that's my thing. Like just people just like having people committed. That's actually another weird fear I have.
Of being involuntarily committed?
Of being committed and feeling as if I, well, for me, like, the idea is that, like, I feel like I'm right, and I'm like, I'm not actually, mentally ill, I'm actually okay, and I'm just being told that, and so that either one, I'm actually mentally ill and I just don't see it, which would be the worst thing that possibly could ever happen. Like, if I just don't know what's happening, or two, I totally am right, and I'm just inside anyway, and so it's just me bouncing off against walls and flipping out.
That would be bad.
Because I would build an Iron Man suit.
And that's why we're having you involuntarily.
Aaron, do you not believe I would try?
I don't see why not.
All right, what else? Oh, what's our last story, ma'am?
Yeah. It's the story about how New York City slashed the racial disparities in drug sentencing.
What?
Yeah. So there was a new criminal procedure law that was implemented in 2009 that grants judges and prosecutors discretion in order to authorize alternatives to mandatory drug sentencing. These alternatives include jail, probation, or treatment. In particular, they're trying to steer people who are convicted of drug crimes into rehabilitation, into treatment programs. A new study has examined the results of these reforms and have found that Black and Hispanic people dropped from 3 and 3.2 times more likely than their white counterparts to receive a prison sentence for a felony drug arrest. Okay, this is a very muddled sentence. So previously, before these 2009 reforms, Black and Hispanic people were imprisoned 3.9 and 3.2 times more than their white counterparts. Since the 2009 reforms, that number has dropped to 1.9 and 2.1 more likely to be imprisoned than their white counterparts. So Black and Latino people are still being imprisoned at a higher rate than white people, but that rate has dropped significantly.
And what exactly how did the reform play out?
Well, essentially because there are mandatory sentences where if you are convicted of a certain
right,
crime,
like the crack cocaine for a long time.
You have to go to jail for this amount of time. So these new rules give judges and prosecutors discretion to not follow those mandatory sentencing. And in fact, Eric Holder, a couple of years ago, essentially ordered prosecutors not to include the amount of drugs in the charging documents so that the amount of drugs wouldn't trigger whatever mandatory sentence was attached to that amount of drugs. So essentially, it's just giving judges and prosecutors a more freewheeling way to deal with drug offenders. Because right now, I think it says something like 50% of people who are in prison are there for drug offenses. And that's just... That's too much.
Did we not discuss this yesterday when I was talking about how annoyed I am with how the fact is that there will be big marijuana, big weed, and there's a lot of people in jail right now for marijuana and weed. Like I mean, well, the same thing. But yeah, that's part of like one of my issues is, and like we have all these rules and it's affected differently. It's enforced differently. And I mean, it's great that happened. I mean, what would be awesome if it actually was completely equal. Mm-hmm. But I mean, we're still in America.
We're still in America, and it's dropping. I mean, 3 to 1. That's a pretty big.
I mean, yes. I mean, 1 point something.
1.9.
Yeah. So I mean, it's good that it's happening. And it's interesting, and I'm happy that we can actually close the show on something that's not completely and totally heart wrenching.
Yeah.
Yes, I chose that. But yeah, it's and it shows that like. when you have judges and prosecutors who aren't complete douchebags, then things can change, as opposed to McCullough.
Right.
That was just that's just my hate and rage. All right, folks. I think we're done here. We have a bunch of post stuff now we have to do because of the random internet outages. But have we been sufficiently black, Aaron?
Yes, we have, sir.
Excellent. Amani, have we been sufficiently black?
Extremely black, I'd say.
Extremely black?
Hella black.
That's really? Hella black?
Hella black.
What do you know about hell? You're from Philly.
Yeah, but I live here now.
That's not how that works.
Yeah, it is.
Thank you guys for listening. We'll be back here on Monday. That's right. We'll be back here Monday. Same black time, same black channel. Have a pleasant evening.
So from now on, whenever you hear these horns, just know you are now entering the blackness. Collard greens, cornbread, and the catfish. Malcolm X and Dr. King with a blackfish. We are live, son. This is blackness. You are now entering the blackness. Stevie Wonder, Marvin Gaye, and the classics. Real love, the opposite of ratchet. We are live, son.